Good morning, all you cats and kitties out there. All right, went yesterday on a bit of a journey. Drove 2 hours to a place called Pikeville, Kentucky, and they had a little comic book convention going on. Now, I've heard about this comic book convention kind of growing over the years. I think it's more famous for its cosplay contest. And with the recent events of last year, where we could not do anything or go anywhere, they were trying to get back off the ground, if you will. I was there, woke up, fed the bearded dragon, drove 2 hours, um, no line at all. Actually, was able to help some people carry their stuff in that I met in the parking lot who were vendors that were selling things. So I got to chat a few people up. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I was sort of spazzed out a bit. I slept about 3 hours the night before, drove 2 hours, and living off coffee. But I got to say, man, for as few vendors that were there and as small as the con ended up being, considering that it was in I don't know, a center where they've held WWE performances. They have Ace Frehley and Alice Cooper coming. They have the Harlem Globetrotters coming. For as big as it was, I got to say I got some really good deals that kind of worked in my advantage, if you will. I'm not going to say that I used my skills to get some good deals. I'm just saying the people there were willing to make deals due to how few people were there. So all I want to say is after the ride down there and all the back roads and hugging the mountains, that I'm not exaggerating. There were you would drive down the road and you could actually there was parts where it was nothing but a guardrail with a cliff beside of it on the other side of it, and on the other side of yourself was the mountain that you were right up against with its stony presence, if you will. Very claustrophobic in some places, and I have drove some back roads in the mountains, let me tell you. But the one thing that really disturbed me was seeing the 3 pound boulder that was about the size of a Volkswagen that had rolled right onto the road, and all they did was scoot it over. And then you would go on down the road, and there would be these stacks of other rocks and stuff that have fallen off the mountain. And I was just like, great, I thought it was hilarious. But anyway, I much more appreciate where I live. Now, here's the deals and stuff, right? Great stuff. Now, right here off the bat, as we stand, I think we're 4 or 5 days away from the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie that I'm pumped up for. James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy movies were fantastic. They're possibly my favorite Marvel movies, on top of, maybe the first Captain America movie. Might top it in my opinion, but they've been fantastic. So we have a Suicide Squad movie coming from. Now, what is funny about this is I didn't buy this back in the day. The first appearance of Javelin, who I'm sure he will have an epic death in the Suicide Squad. But my brother had this, and when I would go up to his house, he lived with his grandmother when we were growing up. But when we went up there, we kind of made fun of this. This was like one of those wooden nickels in the comic book collection that would always pop up for years. So now I think it's hilarious that this character is going to be in a movie. Cannon fodder, I'm sure. I've been hearing a lot about the doppelganger Spider-Man being hot right now. I sold Infinity War. #1 was his first appearance 2, 3 years ago on eBay. And now issue #1 of that is supposed to be this doppelganger's first appearance. I'm assuming it's because of the multiversity talk or time travel talk that's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you will. But I probably already had this, but I wasn't sure. But basically, if you've watched my videos over the years, I think I've completed my Crisis on the Infinite Earths crossover. I've gotten all the mutant crossovers, like Morlock Massacre, maybe some, might need a few Inferno. I think I have all the Secret Wars 2. And then I had War of the Gods. Any of those crossovers back in the day where you had a crossover in the main of books, I've been collecting over the years or completing my collection. Some, I was there for all of this, right? I probably won't try to get all the Acts of Vengeance because that was lame, but I needed this anyway because of the Infinity War crossover. But anyway, I always liked that design. It kind of cracked me up. Okay. This was interesting. I got this for a great deal. I got this for $20 along with 5 other comics I'll show. They may all be in order. But this is the first appearance of the Rocketeer. Now, when you collect comic books and you read your comic books and you've been in it as long as I have, you kind of get some Really obscure holy grails, if you will, books that you really want to get. But the indies are hard to find in good shape and stuff. But the first appearance of Rocketeer by Dave Stevens was always something that I kept an eye out for and always wanted, and I wanted to find it out in the wild. So yeah, first appearance of Rocketeer, which I thought was I got a good deal on. This is my third one of this now. Hold on. This I heard rumblings of like an Amazon Prime TV show or something coming out, but this makes my third. This cracks me up. This makes my third. I forgot I had this one right here, and I ordered this one off of eBay for something like $4 or something. And then I found another one in a dollar box from the same dealer I got the Rocketeer from. He just apparently came across a whole run of Star Slayer. So it's the first appearance of Grimjack by Tim Truman and John Ostrander. And I'm a Tim Truman fan, so of course I had to get that. It just cracks me up that I have 3 appearances of the Grimjack, a character that I'm not really crazy about. Never really had enough, haven't read enough to really say if I am. Now, this really, if you've watched my videos over the years, I did a video several years ago, sort of a dark Stand By Me kind of video, where I returned to my hometown and I walked around and drove around. And I showed you all the places that I bought comics. And I showed you in this Kang run, I showed I think it was maybe part 2 of this storyline that I've lost in a marsh, if you will. If you go back and watch it, we took a shortcut and it said, trespassing because we thought it was an airport. Just because it was an airport. And it turns out it was because the field was nothing but a marsh. We sunk up into it in the middle of winter. And I came out and only one comic book survived in my haul that day. And that was Crisis on Infinite Earths number 4. So all the Kang talk is cracking me up. Because apparently this is the first appearance of the Council of Kangs or Kongs. Sound from the Wrath of Khan era. So, and what is hilarious is not only is my enunciation that we get a kick out of a lot of times from learning words by reading more than hearing them, but I've always thought Kang was a lame, a lame villain. First of all, he looks ridiculous in my eyes, and then that helmet looks like a bowling ball sticking out of his head. He wears thigh-high boots, and the man is able to access time and space. Okay, we're talking like this. This might have been a hair right before Doctor Who became a thing in BBC. I'm not sure. He's from the Silver Age or maybe around a long time. Maybe it was a kismet. But I've always like, how competent can you be if you have access to all time and space, and you let a bunch of heroes from the '60s, take you down? Come on, man. Come on. But anyway, I got these for a song. I now have all 3 parts of that storyline. We'll just do these one at a time here. All right, and then I have this. This is a double. Of course, it's an Inferno crossover. Want to make sure I had it while I was there. And this is an upgrade because I still have the Stepdad's giant size Avengers. There was a lot going on with Steve Englehart and his character Mantis, Celestial Madonna storyline that pulled in Scarlet Witch. This is really a cool story that crosses over with the Avengers and, like I said, Steve Englehart. And if you know anything about Mantis and the Celestial Madonna, there's a whole story there. That was kind of cool to see. Now, this was quite the find. I had never heard of this, never knew this. I collect Amazing Heroes. I've had Amazing Heroes. And I looked on eBay, and this thing is going for $30. But we have Amazing Heroes number 69 that has a Frank Miller cover. This is from 1985. Frank Miller has drawn Batman and Elektra on the same cover. Look at this. That was awesome to find. Being a fan of Squadron Supreme, I had to get this one, number 70. And here is a very cool Steve Bissette cover for Amazing Heroes number 71 with an interview from Alan Moore. This is where I get my trivia. This is where I become Howlerpedia, as I used to be called. Just reading anything and everything. And then these were a great find. I got a great deal on these. well over half off and then some because I bought other books from them, and I don't usually get all pricey here. But I couldn't pass these up. Not Brand Ek 11 and 13. I believe 13 is the last issue. And so if we can get those centered a little bit better without them falling. Well, maybe not. First of all, King Kong cover. So I had to get that. This stuff is full of great, fantastic humor. Kind of a little bit like Mad Magazine back in the day in some spots. And one of them has an infamous, that you don't hear a lot about, infamous 2-page strip where it's like how to be a comic artist. That's satire, and it's hilarious. Arnold Drake did a lot of these, and if you don't know who Arnold Drake is the guy who created the Doom Patrol and the Guardians of the Galaxy. So great stuff. Love that stuff. Okay. Now I'm interested in this. This actually, I think, came out through Malibu. I'm going to have to see more about Adventure Comics. But I had to get it because it's Mike Plug doing Planet of the Apes. It was #1. Now this is part of the books that I got for $20 along with that first appearance of the Rocketeer. This might be, I used to know the price of this book. But anyway, #10, New Teen Titans of #10. This is my second or third one of this. I'll pick this up whenever I can because it's the second appearance of the Terminator, who would become Deathstroke of the Terminator later on. I have completed my Frank Miller Ronin run, book 4. I have multiple copies of, multiple of all the issues of Frank Miller's Ronin, but something about #4 out in the wild, it just never popped up. So I have that completed. Ronin is probably Frank Miller's most underrated and greatest work, in my opinion, with what he's doing. This may complete my 6 issues of John Byrne, his Hulk run. He did a lot in it. Something about this issue, I've had it get beat up. I've had it disappear. And for all I know, I may go through a comic book box and find it. But I think I need one more issue. Love my Hulk stuff. Went ahead and made sure that I had Sienkiewicz's first New Mutants. What was great about his run is that in the first couple of issues, he played around with the Marvel, the corner box of Marvel, for Marvel's infamous quarter boxes. Excuse me while I fix this. And the Demon Bear came in, and this just blew everyone away. Sorry the movie didn't do better or was better. This one, it was really odd as I was going through my X-Men run, and I'll go ahead and tell you, my Uncanny X-Men run is beat up because I freaking read them after I got on board with the X-Men, well, after everybody else did. Back in the late 80s, I finally kind of jumped in there. The More Like Massacre really brought me into the X-Men after years of collecting and having problems with a big plot hole and loophole about them. My biggest thing was with the mutants is that if you live in the Marvel Universe with Fantastic Four and the Avengers and Captain America and everybody loving them, why would you tell anybody you're a mutant? That was my big thing. I wish they would address that. But anyway, the whole point of this is that I believe this is like I have 158, 159, 161, 162. But issue 160 is where Elenia, from who's Magic, Klaus's brother, appears as Magic the Adult for the first time. So I'm assuming that the miniseries that I have around the same time about Elenia getting trapped in a dimension and growing up, and in her time it was like, I don't know, 10 years, but in X-Men Marvel Universe time, they had enough time to walk into a doorway. So they play with some time-space relativity there. I had to get this. I couldn't believe this was for $1. I haven't opened it up to make sure there was anything major wrong with it, but Uncanny X-Men 144. Possibly that may be the last Byrne. Maybe not. Definitely a Byrne cover. Anyway, and then I got these. I went ahead and paid $12 for these. This guy had a full set of Toy Fair Theater. And if you know what Toy Fair Theater is from back in the day, it's Robot Chicken before there was Robot Chicken, if you will. Wizard magazine. Its magazine used to cover comics and toys and cards. And as they grew as a company and started making money, they split those 3 concepts up to where they each had their own magazine. And in Toy Fair, it was all about the action figures, and they came up with these strips. I had to get number 7 here because Weird Al Yankovic did an introduction to it. Here's one that Kevin Smith did. This is volume 1 and volume 2. And he had all of them, but I couldn't get him to come down on the price on the rest of them. And then this is just filling in some holes. Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew, the Oz Wonderland War number 3. I absolutely love this. This is a 3-issue miniseries that I already have, but I found issues 2 and 3. And I'm not a Howard Chaykin fan. I'm more of an indifferent Howard Chaykin fan. I like some of his works. It's almost like project by project is what makes me decide if I like him or not. Anyway, but this is 2 and 3. But this takes place. This is like the Beatnik era. Okay, this is when you had Frank Sinatra, and Beatniks coming up in that era. So basically, Robin is a big dumb muscle that Batgirl's doing all the manipulating with, and I think Batman's died. It's been a while. I actually have this poster. I have this poster up there on my wall of this one. And then I grabbed these because they were in dollar bins. Black Orchid number 3, Neil Gaiman's first miniseries work. I have all 3 of those. I love Herculoids. My favorite, Herculoids is my favorite. So Future Quest number 10 with a Herculoid story. I always grab Cosmic Odyssey. I used to have like 5 or 6 number 1s. It's a 4-issue miniseries that was by Jim Starlin and Mike Mignola. It was really cool. When it first came out, I thought they were trying to do another Crisis on Infinite Earth or something, and I had to give it a chance and read it, and it was really fantastic. A little disappointed in this one. I've had this one off the rack. This is a Daredevil issue where it crossed over with Punisher back in the day. So I was like, oh great, I got it for $1. And then when I got home and actually started looking at my books, that's what's in the dollar bin. So I have a reader's copy. Then I ended up getting a few trades for, I think all of these came to $10. There's one more here somewhere. Yeah, they're on the side. I'll pull them up. Little Strangers in Paradise, Volume 4. If I keep finding these trades this cheap, I already have quite a few. Number 12, fantastic stuff by Terry Moore. I'm going to end up selling my single issues and just getting rid of them. So, it's fantastic stuff. Just about done, guys. And I have 2 friends who love Transmetropolitan. Transmetropolitan. Excuse me. Anyway, by Warren Ellis in the 90s. I was there for this. I read the preview that came out. I read the first issue. I actually had the first issue in my hand. And they absolutely love this. This is from the 90s. And Spider Jerusalem's become quite the character. But I didn't like it. I feel like I need a shower when I'm done with it. And I feel like this is the kind of thing where Warren Ellis may be pleasuring himself as he writes it, screaming that he's a freaking genius. To me, this is just, I'm going to give it a chance and see what my friends think. I've got a random issue here and there, but I'm determined to figure out what my friends see in this book. So I have the trade with the first, 4 issues. Give it a chance. I probably still won't like it. And then some eBay hauls I'll throw on here. I got Lyriums Party by Jill Thompson. Her watercoloring is, these are characters from Neil Gaiman's Sandman. But her watercolors are inspired in this, and she also wrote it. So you have Little Death, Little Morpheus, all the little endless there. And then I finally had to get this because I'm tired of trying to piece it together. I'm tired of thinking I have all the issues. But in the late 70s, Jim Shooter came in on the Avengers and worked on the Korvac saga with various artists. And this was just so fantastic. I still have friends who reminisce about this story. So we got that so I can finally read the whole thing. And I don't know if anybody's into D&D, but I ran across this on eBay for super cheap. And apparently, right when I got out of around 90, 91, give or take, I quit playing D&D basically because everybody I've been playing with for 4 or 5 years, the campaigns that, the same people I had a campaign with, they all got older, went on, moved, graduated, joined the military, all sorts of things, and I'm just left there by myself. I tried playing with some other people, and it just wasn't the same. And apparently, right when I quit, the mysterious Drow elves, because in the 80s, there was not a lot known about the Drow. They were sort of whispered about, seriously. So then all of a sudden, they kind of started taking off right when I quit. All right, guys, that's the haul. Thanks for checking in. Later. be excellent to each other.